So premium does not sound like this. This is all plastic. Like everywhere you look, everywhere you touch, it's just all hard plastic. Righty, you guys, welcome back to 2 to 4 Wheels ZA, where we review cars and bikes and everything in between. Today I want to introduce you to another Chery brand. Yeah, this is Lepas. It comes in under Chery along with Jetour, Omoda, J-Crew, you name it, all of them. This comes in at 300,000 Rand. This specific one is 420,000 Rand, the Lepas Pantera. So the variant here is the Pantera, which is quite a cool name in my opinion. The car does look nice. You've got a 1.5 litre turbocharged engine with a DCT gearbox. Not a big fan of those. And we've got what, 108 kilowatts and 225 Newton meters of torque in this thing. Let's get into it, see how it drives and see if it's actually worth the money. Alright, so we are dealing with a compact SUV slash crossover. So the two are always confused for one another. Some brands like to call their cars crossovers because they don't want to be seen as SUVs, and they want to compete with crossovers because they're actually an SUV but trying to compete with guys that are smaller and lower than them. Other brands like to call their crossovers SUVs so that they look bigger and like they fit in this category. It's all crazy, it's all the same. This is what we're dealing with here. Interior here is leather covered, obviously, because this is the Pantera. This is the top spec of the L4 range. And yeah, it's crazy that Lepas is, giving this thing to us as a premium car. The styling certainly does look sort of premium-ish, but the interior, my goodness, I don't know what they were thinking here. So premium does not sound like this. This is all plastic. Like everywhere you look, everywhere you touch, it's just all hard plastic. So I don't think they got it right when it comes to that. It's just nothing in here screams premium except for leather seats, which are an average and standard thing in any new car, right? It's very rare that you get new and modern cars without leather seats. I think the entry grade, which is the Javon, if I'm not mistaken, does have cloth seats. It's got a manual gearbox, which I love. I have driven that. The one thing I don't like about these cars, you're looking at it, it's that screen over there. So this is essentially a Chery Tiggo 4. This and the Tiggo 4 share a lot of things, including this whole setup and this whole screen. Everything has been jam-packed into this. It's like an iPad style screen. Not the greatest, not ideal. You do get a tiny little instrument cluster screen over here. Personally, I feel like it's just kind of lazy from the Chinese, honestly speaking. A lot of brands are doing this thing where they just grab a small little screen and stick it on the dash. What happened to building and molding dashboards with instrument clusters that are built into the dash where it feels like it's driver focused? Those days are over. It doesn't happen anymore. It's just a screen, put it on the dash. If it's right-hand drive, you put it on this side. If it's left-hand drive, you stick it on this side and they're done. That's it. So yeah, everything is in here. You've got a few AC buttons here. This is like any other Chery vehicle or Chinese brand. You've got this indicator stalk on this side and you've got the gear selector on this side. So they've removed anything that's got to do with selecting gears on here, and your gear selectors here. So that's reverse, that's drive, and you push the button on this side for park. Because this is the top spec, you get yourself a sunroof that you've still got to manually open and operate. Crazy business, right? 420,000 Rand. Although on a personal level, I like this. I absolutely hate modern cars where if I want to open the shade, I've got to do it over here. Simply because you cannot tilt or open the sunroof in those cars without the car opening the entire shade. So if I want to just have this closed and have my sunroof tilted open for the aesthetic appeal, I can in this car because I can control this manually. For some people, obviously, it's going to be like, why would I want to operate this whole thing manually? We do have ourselves a decent sized boot with a spare tire. I can't emphasize how important that is in this day and age. A lot of cars just aren't coming with spare tires. Manufacturers are not fitting spares into cars. Instead, they give you a tiny little can with tire mending formulation, whatever it is. If you do get a flat, you plug that into your tire, spray it in, it patches any hole from within. At least Lepas is still giving us a spare tire, even though it is a biscuit. We've got two USB ports in here. I don't like the fact that they've stashed them in here. It kind of sucks because if you want to run cable, your cable is being run from this deep place, whereas the standard place to have USB ports is over here. The rear side of things actually does not have any USB ports. I'm feeling my way through here. There's not a single USB port. You only get two in the top spec. Because this is the Pantera top spec, it does come with seat ventilation, which I think is quite cool. It's quite a nice feature to have, especially in summer, but we are in winter right now. And I honestly do wish that this was seat heating instead of seat ventilation, because we do need the heating. Now it doesn't want to respond. And this is the problem, my dear friend, with touchscreen. So this is the issue with everything being jammed into a screen. Imagine if I'm driving right now. If I was driving and I wanted to turn on or off my seat ventilation or my aircon, and the screen just isn't responding to what I'm doing. This is the problem with this entire system, and it's actually very unsafe. I don't know why the world and the world of cars locally in Europe, Asia, you name it, thinks that this is a safe thing to do. Two cup holders here and a wireless charging pad over here. Some people use it, I don't use it. One interesting thing about this car is the key. So if you look at this key, you might assume that it's a Porsche key. It's not. It's a Lepas L4 Pantera key. It actually does look nice. The one thing I don't like about this key is that it doesn't have actual physical buttons. So it's not the kind of key that you can press without looking to lock the car or while it's in your pockets, because you know what button is what. This is as smooth as, and you just kind of have to be looking at what you're pressing to be able to operate this thing without looking. Now, let's go for a drive here and see what this thing is all about on the road. I've got a lot to say about the driving side of things. So yeah, let's roll. So the biggest thing with the Lepas brand is styling, right? The thing is styling. It looks premium, and it really, really does. And they've positioned this as a premium brand and a premium car. And as I said to you, nothing feels premium, but it does look nice on the outside, I must say. I do like the front end with those daytime running lights in a sort of like a lightning pattern. I do like that. I think it does look nice. The grille off the car also looks nice. It's got like a diamondy pattern design going on. Looks good. The rear end is just the rear end. They haven't done a combination taillight, which is something we often see with modern cars, and more especially Chinese brands, where you get this whole combination taillight and it glows up at night and it's LED. They haven't done that yet, but it just looks like another car. This sits on a set of 17-inch wheels, which personally look a bit too small for the car. Kind of looks like it's got like skinny legs. It's walking on skinny legs, and it's not the best look. But overall, it looks like a car. Let's talk about the part that actually matters, right? What's under the bonnet? How does it drive? How does it fare on the road? We've got a 1.5 litre engine, as I said in the beginning of this thing. 185 kilowatts. Oof, I'm about to sit in traffic here. And 225 Newton meters of torque in that 1.5. Now, the thing about these Chinese brands and engines, these 1.5s, is that they are very responsive. Even the 2-litre engines in Chinese vehicles, they go very well, super responsive, a lot of power, a lot of torque. It's all delivered when you want it, when you need it. Sometimes it's a bit too much, especially for me personally. I'm a very chilled and relaxed driver behind the wheel, and the tuning is just, for me, it feels like they're overcompensating for a small displacement engine, and they tune them really, really high, and they're just super responsive. So, for instance, in this car, it's an eco right now. I'm driving it in eco. Most of these Chinese cars, I have to drive them in eco because they just want to get away from you in standard, normal driving mode, not in sport. So that is the case, yeah. And of course, it is a turbocharged engine, but it does raise one big fat question, the big fat elephant in the room, right? And that is longevity. How long are these highly boosted engines going to last? Because if you look at brands like Suzuki, who is not turbocharging their stuff, it's naturally aspirated for the most part. I think the Swift Sport is the only model that is turbocharged. I could be correct. I stand to be corrected, but I think it's just the Swift Sports. Everything else is naturally aspirated. We look at Mazda, who for the longest time have also refused to turbocharge their vehicles. And it's for one simple reason. They have got a name. Their name is built on a reputation of reliability, both of those brands. And how do you get reliability? Well, you preserve what you've got. You've got decent engines and you preserve them. So you don't run them at maximum. You run them at a reasonable level where you've still got room and the engine is not working at its peak, if you know what I mean. So we don't know what these Chinese engines are going to look like. I know someone's going to say, hey, I mean, this stuff comes with a 1 million kilometer engine warranty. That's all good and well, but that's for the first owner. How many people are going to keep a vehicle for 10 years, firstly? Sorry guys, I ran out of storage there, but the point I was making is that people don't own cars for that long anymore. Gone are those days. People just don't do that anymore. So yeah, that 1 million 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty means absolutely nothing, because that car will be with its third, fourth, fifth owner by the time it gets to that mileage, and then that doesn't apply. So yeah, the things I have and haven't liked about this car: one, the ride is very harsh. You feel every bump, which I don't enjoy. It looks like a soft and cuddly car, the kind of car that really just rides well on the road and is pleasant. It really isn't. It's got a harsh ride. Haven't enjoyed that side of the car. We've got ourselves a dual clutch gearbox here, DCT, my least favorite style of gearbox. And what this car does on pull-off, so you'll be parked, not parked somewhere, but stopped at a robot stop sign, traffic has come to a stop, and you take your foot off the brake to pull off, and it just starts rolling backwards before the engine and gearbox engage. So that is not cool. I don't like that, because I'm going to hit the guy behind me, and it's nearly happened once. But the issue has been a recurring thing. So I'm hoping that that's going to be one of the issues that the Chinese fix and resolve with this car when the second batch or the facelift or whatever it is comes into play off the L4. The one thing I have liked about the car is, believe it or not, the fuel consumption. Fuel economy here is just mind-boggling. Most of these Chinese cars with 1.5 liter engines are just thirsty and they want to sip and just clean the bar. Clean up the bar, the entire thing, leave nothing on the floor. This is surprisingly good for a non-hybrid car. It's not non-hybrid. I'm averaging 6.8 liters per 100 in this Lepas L4. So that's the one thing they've at least gotten right in the L4. Fuel consumption. I don't know whether there's going to be a hybrid version of this in the future. There might be, because I see that a lot of Chinese brands have gone that route. It seems to be a trend. When they go this way, they all go this way. So initially they all introduced 1.5 liter turbocharged engines, and everyone complained, heavy on fuel, can't do this, it's not sustainable. And then boom, hybrids came from all brands, and then boom, plug-in hybrids came. So because Lepas is still new, probably the second batch of Lepas vehicles, just like Cherries with the Tiggo 4, they've now introduced a hybrid version of the Tiggo 4. I think the same thing is going to happen here, because it's basically the same car, right? Now, with that being the case, there is hope. I must be honest with you, there is absolute hope. Chinese manufacturers are probably the only manufacturers I've encountered that actually listen to feedback. So this kind of feedback will get back to them, and I'm probably not going to be the only person speaking about these things and complaining about these things. And when it does get back to them, they fix these things, right? I've seen so many Chinese brands where a new model, the Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro Max specifically as one of them, came into the country and it had so many flaws, so many glitches, so many things that weren't right. And then I drove the car like 6 months to a year later when the second batch of cars came into the country, and all of those issues were resolved. So I'm pretty sure that these little teething problems in Lepas, it is a new car, will be resolved very quickly. I can promise you that now. That's just how they do it. Alrighty, if you have enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button below, and I will see you in the next video and the next review. Don't know what it will be,